There is a moment every dog owner has experienced, but almost no one understands. Your dog suddenly freezes. Their ears shift. Their body stiffens in a way that feels different. Not playful, not curious. Something else. Something quieter. More serious. And then they look at you. Not the usual excited look. Not the let us go outside look. This one lingers. It feels like they are trying to tell you something, but you brush it off. Because what could it possibly mean? After all, dogs bark, stare, and act strange all the time, right? But what if that moment was not random? What if your dog was not just reacting, but warning you? Most people miss it, completely. And by the time they realize what their dog was trying to say, it is already too late. By the end of this, you will start seeing your dog very differently, because some behaviors are not habits, they are messages. And your dog might be trying to protect you in ways you have never noticed. It usually starts small, subtle change in routine. Your dog, who normally greets people with a wagging tail, suddenly hesitates. Maybe even backs away. You laugh it off. He is just being weird today. But here is what most people miss. Dogs do not randomly change their social behavior without a reason. Imagine this. You are walking your dog down a familiar street. Same path, same time, same calm environment. Then out of nowhere, your dog slows down. Their tail drops slightly. Their body leans away from something you have not even noticed yet. You look ahead. Nothing unusual. So you pull the leash gently and keep going. But your dog resists. Not aggressively. Just enough to say, no. Most owners interpret this as stubbornness. Maybe even poor training. But behaviorists have observed something fascinating. Dogs process environmental changes far faster than humans. Their senses, especially smell and hearing, pick up on subtle shifts long before we can. That hesitation? It might not be defiance. It might be detection. Something unfamiliar. Something off. Something your dog does not trust. And instead of reacting loudly, your dog is choosing a quieter warning, hoping you will notice. But we rarely do. And that brings us to something even more unsettling. There are moments when your dog becomes unusually alert inside your own home. No noise, no visible movement. Yet your dog is focused on a specific spot, ears forward, eyes locked, body completely still. You might laugh nervously, maybe even joke about ghosts. But let us ground this in reality. Dogs hear frequencies we cannot. They detect vibrations we do not register. A faint sound behind a wall, a subtle shift outside the door, even changes in air pressure. Now imagine your dog suddenly positioning themselves between you and that unseen source. Not barking wildly, not panicking, just standing there, watching. This is where things get interesting, because when a dog places themselves between you and something else, it is rarely random. It is protective. And protection in dogs is not just instinct. It is selective. They do not do it for everything, which means when they do, it matters. But here is where people often get it wrong. They think a barking dog is the biggest warning sign. It is not. In fact, sometimes the most important signals are the quietest ones. Take this scenario. You are sitting at home, relaxed. Your dog is nearby, calm. Then suddenly, they come closer. Not excited, not playful, just closer. They lean into you. Maybe rest their head on your leg. Their breathing slows. Their body presses gently against yours. Most people see this as affection. And yes, it is. But sometimes it is more than that. Dogs have been observed to seek physical contact when they sense emotional or environmental discomfort. Not just their own, yours. There have been countless cases where dogs responded to changes in human behavior before those changes were consciously recognized. Stress, anxiety, even subtle shifts in health. Your dog does not understand these things the way we do, but they feel them. And when they feel something is off, they move closer. Not to comfort themselves, to anchor you. But here is the part no one talks about. What happens when your dog does not come closer, but instead starts avoiding something completely? This is where things take a different turn. Imagine your dog suddenly refusing to enter a room they have always been comfortable in. No trauma. No visible reason. Just a quiet, consistent avoidance. You try to encourage them. maybe even carry them in. But they resist. Hard. At first, it feels irrational. But dogs do not operate on irrational fear the way humans do. Their reactions are rooted in sensory input. Something changed. It could be a smell, a sound, even a structural shift in the environment. There have been cases where dogs refused to enter spaces where gas leaks were later discovered, or areas with electrical issues producing frequencies humans could not detect. But in the moment, it just looks like strange behavior, and most people ignore it. Until later. Now, let us shift to something more emotional and often misunderstood. Dogs staring at you. Not casually. Not the usual, I want food stare. This one is deeper, longer, almost searching. You might feel slightly uncomfortable, maybe even confused. Why are they looking at you like that? Here is what is fascinating. Eye contact in dogs is not just communication, it's connection. Studies have shown that when dogs hold eye contact with their owners, both experience a rise in oxytocin, the bonding hormone. But prolonged, intense staring can also signal something else. Awareness. Your dog is reading you, your posture, your breathing, your micro-expressions, and sometimes they are trying to understand something that does not match your normal state. This is especially noticeable before significant emotional shifts. Moments before you feel overwhelmed, before you get sick, before something changes. Your dog notices first. And that stare? It is not random. It is recognition. But here is where it gets even more subtle. Sometimes, your dog does not react with alertness, or closeness, or avoidance. Sometimes they become unusually calm. Too calm. Picture this. A situation that should excite your dog: visitors arriving, noises outside, movement around the house. But instead of reacting, your dog stays still, quiet, observant. Almost like they are conserving energy. Watching. This kind of calm is not relaxation. It is assessment. In the animal world, stillness often precedes action. It is a moment of processing, of deciding what comes next. When a dog chooses stillness in a situation that normally triggers excitement, it means something does not feel right. But here is what most people miss. Dogs do not experience the world in moments. They experience it in patterns. And when a pattern breaks, they notice instantly, which brings us to one of the most overlooked signs of all. Change in routine behavior. Not dramatic, not obvious, just different. Your dog sleeps in a different spot, eats slightly slower, reacts a little later than usual. Individually, these changes mean nothing, but together, they form a pattern. And dogs are incredibly consistent creatures. When that consistency shifts, it is rarely random. It is response to something internal or external. And this is where everything connects. Hesitation on walks, the alertness at home, the quiet closeness, the avoidance, the staring, the unnatural calm. They are not separate behaviors. They are signals, pieces of a larger message. Your dog is not just reacting to the world. They are interpreting it. And sometimes they see things we do not. Not in a supernatural sense, but in a sensory, emotional, and instinctive way that humans have lost over time. And maybe the most important part of all this is not what your dog is detecting. It is what they are trying to do about it. They are not just noticing change. They are responding to it. For you. Because in your dog's world, your safety is not optional. It is everything. So the next time your dog pauses for no reason, or stares a little too long, or refuses to move forward, do not rush past it. Do not dismiss it. Just watch. Because in that quiet moment, your dog might be trying to tell you something important. Something you cannot see, but they can. And once you start noticing these signs, you will realize something that most people never do. Your dog has been communicating with you all along. Not with words, but with awareness. And the truth is, they have been protecting you in ways you never even realized.